All right, y'all. So we back with some more TikToks that'll make you question everything. So remember, this is for entertainment purposes only. Let's check it out.
7. 7. Mommy man. Oh.
Oh.
He is not slick. 7.
Yo, that kid definitely looks like he's been here before. You know what I mean? He looks super older and young at the same time.
This baby is a reincarnated soul.
On your own, boy. What in the world?
Looking around too.
Bruh just came out the womb. Already know how to live. Already know how to move his head. How old are you?
Not even a full 24 hours yet.
Who are you?
This baby is a reincarnated.
Newborn baby already holding his head up and at the same time looks like he's about 2 years old, like, or a year old right now. He look like he having his first birthday almost.
This is the story of a boy named Luke Ruhlman, who when he was just 2 years old started having memories of being a woman named Pam. He started naming all his toys Pam, which his mom thought was strange because they didn't even know anyone named Pam. And when she asked him who Pam was, he said, "I used to be Pam." He also told his mom that he died in a fire and he jumped from a burning building. He also told his mom that after he died, he went to heaven and he came back and woke up and he was now a boy named Luke. After his mom started asking him more questions about it, she found out where this happened and he said it was Chicago, and he had never even been or heard of Chicago. So his mom started researching on places in Chicago that had a burning building where people had to jump out to escape. She did end up finding a place in Chicago where this did happen in 1993. She found the woman who passed away in this fire named Pam Robinson. And she noticed this was predominantly an African American area and Pam was African American. So she asked him, "What color was your skin?" And he said it was black. So just to really put him to the test, his mom gathered a few photos of African American women, and he was able to pick out the exact photo of Pam Robinson. He also happens to love Stevie Wonder and piano, and it turns out after speaking to Pam's family that she also loves Stevie Wonder and playing piano. This is the story of a boy.
Here we go again, another kid, young age, talking about a past life. Like, being detailed. We've all seen situations, but sometimes it's a feeling, you know, how does he know that? What do you mean? How do you know this much at your young age to be able to talk about this type of stuff in detail?
How many kids do you have?
4.
You have 3?
I have 4.
How?
You, Legacy, Lolo, and Adrian.
But you don't have 4 kids.
Why?
Oh,
Why not?
you just don't, because I don't live with you.
Where do you live?
In Sand Springs.
In Sand Springs?
Yep,
With who?
with grandfather.
Well, when you go to bed, you're here. So, you live with me.
I'm not gonna stay the night.
You stayed the night with me?
Yeah, I stay the night every night. Cause
Where?
at your house. Because my grandfather died. Ugh.
When did your grandfather die?
Well, since our house is bleeding everywhere, inside of it. Remember, whenever our house is on the street, remember, on the street?
Your house on the street bleeds?
No, my house. My mom. She climbed up it. She turned into a monster. And she died. So now she's dead.
Your mom's dead?
Yeah. My grandfather and my mom. So now I live with you.
What's your name?
Angelie. Angela Grace died.
Who's Angeli?
Me. That's why you have 3 kids. How many kids?
She even sounds older when she's detailing and explaining that. Like, I want to hear the rest of it. Because if it's anything similar to this, how could you not somewhat believe her? And then I wasn't able to read all of the captions that the lady at the bottom of the screen was posting, but I did come across her saying that in India, it's a common belief. Like, reincarnation is common. That's a common belief over there. So I need to look in more into that. I didn't know that.
Most people are not aware that everyone travels out of the body every night when they go to sleep. The body is the part that gets tired and must rest. The spirit or the soul never requires to sleep. It would be awfully boring for the real you, the spirit, to wait around for the body to wake up so it can continue its work. So while the body is sleeping, the real you is going off, having all kinds of adventures. It can travel all over Earth, spend time on the spirit side, or even go to other planets or dimensions. The person is normally not aware of this unless they have dreams of flying or unusual places. You are always connected. Most people are.
So I wonder, is that why when I'm dreaming, I'm always flying or falling or going through the air doing something? Is that a representation of my spirit leaving my body or something like that? Like, what's happening? Do you notice that when you think about that in a lot of your dreams?
Did you know that this little boy, Cameron McCauley, lived twice? That's right, it's another reincarnation story, and this one is mind-blowing. Cameron McCauley was born and raised in Glasgow in Scotland, but from the age of 2 years old, he would tell his family all about his previous life on the island of Barra, which is an island off the west coast of Scotland. Cameron lived with his mum, Norma, and they had lived in Glasgow all of his life, and they had never even been to Barra. Barra was 200 miles away from Glasgow. To get there, it would have taken them an hour by plane and even longer by sea. But Cameron was insistent, so he told his mother all about the white house that they used to live in, the house that overlooked the sea. He would talk about how planes used to land on the beach, and he talked about how much he loved his little black and white dog. Cameron told his mum that his dad, when he lived on the island, was a man named Shane Robertson, and he had died after being hit by a car because, in Cameron's exact words, he hadn't looked both ways. He would complain about the toilets on the island of Barra. He would say that his parents had 3 toilets and that he missed his mother and his siblings, and he would get really upset that he had to leave his mother. Eventually, he was escorted to the island by a man named Dr. Jim Tucker, who was a child psychologist. And on the way there on the plane, Cameron was so excited, he was jumping up and down going, "I'm going home, I'm going home." He told everybody that he couldn't wait to see his mother, that she had long brown hair all the way down her back, and that she had read him Bible stories. Now, in his real life, Cameron and his mother, Norma, they weren't religious people, and Norma had never exposed him to anything religious, and she never read to him from the Bible. They got to a place where they thought Cameron might be talking about, but when they got there, they realised there was no white house overlooking the bay, and there was no house owned by a Robertson family, so they were really disappointed. Until they thought, maybe we should try the other side of the island, and sure enough, they got confirmation that there was a Robertson family living on the other side of the island. They got into the car to go there. They didn't tell Cameron where they were going, but when they arrived, he jumped out of the car and immediately ran to this white house. When they went into the house, Cameron ran around, showing everybody all the rooms that he used to live in, showed everybody the 3 toilets that did indeed exist in this house, took everybody out to the garden to show them the secret garden gate that he had spoken about for years. When the researchers found the surviving members of the Robertson family, who had since moved away, they were able to get their hands on some photos of the car that the Robertson family drove and photos of the dog. And guess what? They were exactly the same as Cameron had described. Interestingly though, the researchers could find no information about this Shane Robertson person who allegedly had been hit by a car. Also interestingly, Cameron used to say to his mother and people around him, "Don't worry about dying because you just come back again." He also used to say to his mum when she would ask him how he got there, he would say, I fell through and went into your tummy. If you want to hear more reincarnations.
So what do y'all think? That. And see, reincarnation, as she was sitting there talking, I'm thinking to myself, like, this also sounds to me like time travel. I've talked a lot about time travel, but I never really connected it to thinking about reincarnation. Think about that. If it's not reincarnation, could it be time travel or vice versa? When they're young, it could be reincarnation. When they're older, it's time travel. But I don't know, man. But one thing's for sure, I'm not going to just not believe these kids. They're speaking in too much detail. And I don't believe in coincidence.
So the theory here is that the elites stay the elites throughout history. That's why you have so many similarities. It's either reincarnation or they're immortal. Let's see here. Keanu Reeves, I could see it, but it's not that similar. That one, I don't know. Jay-Z, now that looks a lot like Jay-Z. But it's a black and white picture, you can't really tell. Now that's uncanny right there. The eyes, the nose, oh Madonna. Bruce Willis, okay. Was that Robert Pattinson? Yes, definitely. Eddie Murphy, definitely looks like him. Johnny Depp, that's a good one, Johnny Depp. Was this Matthew McConaughey? You gotta put a mustache on the new one. Greta Thunberg. Yeah, a lot of these, it really makes you think. But you guys are not even ready to find out how every U.S. president in history is actually related. So the theory here is that
I've heard about that as well. We'll dive back into that a little more down the line as well too. But I don't know about these elites being immortal, but I do look at them and say, like, some of these celebs that don't age, I'm starting to look at some of them like, all right, what's going on here, bro? What are you doing? Why aren't you aging? Why aren't you aging? Like, some of it make you feel a little funny when you look at them and start to question things. I don't know what it is.
I once was Harriet Tubman. I once was Malcolm X. I once was Adolf Hitler, and you were too. We were everyone that ever existed through all history, and we are everyone that exists right now today. We are just pretending to be someone else based on what we feel in this current lifetime off of our experiences. You were a piece of the Creator that came here to have your own personal experience. You, God, had to break yourself up into multiple things to experience everything. Realize one day you're going to actually be someone who is dead off of the face of the earth, and reality is going to continue to go on without you. How will that look? How will that make you feel? The reason why you are here on this planet, each and every one of us, is to become the thing that hurts you the most. And no, I'm not saying be the same problem. I'm saying be a problem to those who created the problem. You came here to be a solution to whatever it is that made you uncomfortable. You came here to help expand God, because we all are the same God. You already know it. I once was Harry.
I don't know. Listening to her speak made me think about maybe a parallel universe. Maybe I could see that. Or the only way I could see you, because how do you explain yesterday or the day before that you woke up in this same, this same body that you're in with the same, I don't know. I can't really understand what she's trying to unlock in us or tell us. And like I said, the only thing I could think of to relate to what she was saying was parallel universe. So, I don't know.
We're seeing a rise in people not wanting to have children, and it's for a specific reason. Not a lot of souls want to incarnate on planet Earth anymore.
I see you, but I raise you parallel universes. So go check out this video. But this woman is talking about how more and more people are choosing to not have kids. And she believes it's for a specific reason, as souls do not want to incarnate on Earth anymore. However, ever since I figured out reincarnation is a thing, I was always confused as to how you can reincarnate. There has to be like a set amount of people that can come in, right? Because there's past, present, and future. So if you're not having kids, then you're probably not allowing other people to reincarnate, right? However, I was thinking in this direction, but not this direction, because I recently figured out that parallel universes are a thing. So you may have chosen not to have kids in this life, but you may have also chosen to have kids in a parallel universe. And with that idea, there's a lot of chances for people to reincarnate, which is why people have so many lives.
We're seeing a rise in people.
So if you choose not to incarnate here, but like she said, in a parallel universe, you do, then that would make sense to what the previous girl was saying as well. So you may get tired of what you're seeing here. The souls may get tired of what they're dealing with here on this planet here and choose not to incarnate here anymore and want to go other places. So do you get a choice? How does that work? Maybe if you think back to earlier civilizations from back in the day, maybe the reason why they buried themselves with golds and riches and different things like that, offerings to the gods, because maybe when you get there, you don't want to come back here. What you experienced and witnessed here on this planet here, the wars, the fighting, the back and forth, the mistreatment, all the different things that made your soul say no more. Maybe when you were buried back then, that was their way to offer to the gods to have a choice of where they wanted to go. Interesting where they're taking my mind with some of this.
So now as your soul is transcending this planet, most souls look into the light. It's the only light they see. You know what I'm saying? And they taught you in religion to go into the light your whole life. So if you was a true believer and had faith in any religion, right, you gonna hold that in your soul. So when you see that light, nigga, you like, oh, that's heaven. You gonna float into that, and they gonna got him, snatch your ass up, bring you in, put you in a little container like this with dark matter energy bolts around it to restrict your dark matter energy from leaving it. And then they take your soul and they bleach it of all its memories. And then they redirect it back down to this planet again, because they know that once they come down here, you're going to step into a new avatar. All right? When women are pregnant, there is no life form in it. There's no life force, no soul is in that body until the water break. There's no soul in the body of that baby until the water break. When you pregnant and the baby, you think the baby moving, ain't the baby moving? Remember, you full of water. So any object underwater that's moving around is knocking against something, it's going to float and bang against you. And these scientists didn't want to tell you the truth about you. They hid us from us because we the grand creators. So they got you thinking the whole time the baby is no. The soul, listen, the baby can't stay in you once the soul enter that body. That's why your water break. Goddess. Soon as that soul, that whole 9 months, your avatar is being used to grow the avatar of that new soul. Your avatar, all right, is being used, and his semen is being used to create a new avatar. You're preparing a new avatar for a new soul to drive in to ride in while it's in this realm, this reality. All right, because you can't walk in this reality with your astral body. It's rules to the universe. As above, so below, is laws to every realm in reality. Just like you can't take this body into the physical realm. You got to take your astral body. All right? So
I was listening. He had me up until he started talking about the baby, right? And if you never had a baby, then you would probably go along with this. But my thing is, when you've had a baby and you've seen your pregnant wife or a girlfriend or whomever, and she goes through this 9-month period and the baby starts to move, you don't see a body just moving, or at least I didn't. I saw actual movement, like a hand or something moving about all around the stomach, or a foot pushing about, and it made the stomach look deformed. It looked like somebody was trying to come up out of the stomach like an alien or something trying to break through or something like that. You didn't see just like a body just moving and banging. No, you actually saw it, the baby moving. So the movements mimic a person alive. So that's where he kind of lost me at. But
does this prove that reincarnation is real? A baby is born with a birthmark on his throat that looks more like an open wound. In fact, 2 days after they bring him home, they have to return to the hospital to have the doctors stitch him up because it won't stop bleeding. Now, fast forward 2 years, and as soon as this kid can talk, he starts speaking about his past life. He was so convincing that they even changed his name to match the name of the last life. But this is where it gets really interesting. So it turns out that the past life that this kid remembered, that guy unalived himself through the throat with a weapon, which means that this baby's birthmark that bled when he was born, it perfectly matched the fatal wound of the last personality. As soon as investigators realized how the last personality passed away, they asked the question, if he had a birthmark that matched the entry wound, shouldn't he also have a birthmark that matched the exit wound? So they go back to this kid who's now grown up, a full-on adult, and they ask him, hey, did you have any other birthmarks? And he, without hesitating, immediately points to the top of his head. If that doesn't give you chills how much alike they look, then you're not me. This case actually has a ton of fascinating elements, so I highly recommend that you read it in its entirety. Luckily for you, I wrote a whole article about it. Does this prove that
what the? Yo, now y'all got me thinking about birthmarks. I never really tried to add that into the equation, but now I'm like, we should all research our birthmarks to see if it's in a connection of anything. I don't know how to, where to start, where to go with it. You know, you probably have no direction because you're older now. If you're probably watching this video, so you don't have any memory of a past life. But if you do, and it's vivid to you, and you remember names and places and things, who you were, verify and check to see how that person died. And then verify and check your birthmark and see if it matches up or lines up with anything. That's a game changer. That changes the game.
So I know I have told this story of my daughter telling me she had another mom before me, but now I have the story. When she was 5, she told me, let's pretend that you're my real mom. I was like, I am your real mom, like biologically. She's like, no, silly, you're my new mom. My real mom died a long time ago. And then I came back, and now you're my new mom. So like a year or so ago, I questioned her, like, do you remember that family? She's like, yeah. I said, okay, tell me some details. Like, what happened? How'd you die? And she's like, my dad's name was Samuel. I can't remember my mom's name, but it kind of like ended in like Tina, maybe like Christina, Valentina, something like that. She said, I died in 1942 in a car accident. We were turning left, and I was sitting all the way on like the right side, the passenger side, and she had a brother and a sister, and they were sitting middle and outside, not outside, driver's side, and they turned, but they didn't see that a vehicle was coming, and the vehicle hit her side and killed her and her mom because her dad was driving. So I know not to just like take a child's word for what it is, but like I do like note it and move on. So I went to my phone, typed all those details. That way, like, she's making this BS up, I'm gonna catch her in a lie. I want to say like last year, like she's 9 now. So I asked her probably last year, when she was 8. Do you remember the story about like your past life? Do you remember any of it that you told me? And she was like, yeah, I remember some stuff. It's still kind of fuzzy, but yeah, I remember. Mind you, over a year has passed since that story. So I go to my phone notes and I look over it, and then I ask again, like, what do you remember? Knowing, well, she ain't gonna remember that. She said, I died in 1942 in a car accident. We were turning and a car hit my side of the car. and I died and my mom died, but my dad and my brother and sister lived. So I said, why didn't y'all have seatbelts on? This kid looked at me and said, there were no seatbelts back then. What? Like, take it how you want. She ain't making that up. She's not. I mean, you can say she was, but she's not. So I'm...
See, the thing about it is, we also got to remember, man, as they get older, they can start to forget. So if you're going to, like, take this serious, you need to ask the kid all the questions while you have them, while the thoughts are fresh. Write it down or record it on something. And you need to research. And you need to continue to ask questions. Who were your siblings? What were their names? What were y'all wearing, or where was this located? Get as much information as you can and verify this stuff, man. Please.
All right, so this might come as a shock to you, but did you know that there is strong scientific evidence suggestive of what the average person would call reincarnation? What? Yeah. And like, the research has been going on for over 50 years at the University of Virginia. We're not talking about freaking DeVry University online, okay? This is UVA. This is one of the most well-respected research universities in the country. Oh, okay, yeah. Anyway, what the researchers have found is that there are kids, and they've studied thousands of them, usually between the ages of 2 and 7, who claim to have memories of a past life. But couldn't it just be their imagination? Well, sure. Except for the fact that many of these kids remember enough details about the past life that can be verified experimentally. Not to mention, and this totally blew my mind, but many of the kids have birthmarks that correspond with fatal wounds from the previous life's autopsy photos. Are you saying that if they got shot right here in the past life that the kid's gonna have a birthmark there? That's exactly what I'm saying. I know, it's nuts, but surely someone has poked a hole in this. Then why is this the first I'm hearing about it? Well, it's been covered on NPR several times, and it's also been written up in Scientific American. But you're right, that for the most part, it just kind of gets ignored. But why? For that answer, we'll need to dive into some of the philosophy of science, so stay tuned if you want to know more. Alright, so this might come as...
This is proof that reincarnation is real. This is my aunt, but it's not her, it's her sister. She works as a hygienist. She had a client come in. This is an older guy. Doesn't know anything about her first time meeting. So they sit down, she's doing the cleaning, and he starts to tell her things about her life. Because he's actually a spiritual medium, so he can foresee the future. He can see spirits. He can tell a lot about somebody just by being there. He predicted a few things that he would have never known. He was saying, I see you working at this office somewhere on this street, and you're on the second floor. Her face was like shocked. How did he know this? This guy's never met her. He was telling her, do you know Emmanuel? She's like, who's that? And she's thinking that was the name of her Lolo at the time. He said, Manuel is always with you. And he said that your son, he's living through him. Know what's crazy, bro? Her son, she has a lot of mannerisms.
Like Emmanuel?
Yeah.
Oh my.
My other aunt, so her sister, she was in shock too because she would always pray to him. I guess it's true. Ancestors do watch over us, and he was actually there for them, almost reincarnated. This is proof that
I mean, yeah, I got a lot, bro. You got a lot to look at and think about, man. And I think the main thing you take from all these videos we checked out, bro, is the birthmark. That introduced something new to me that I have never thought about, and now I will pay attention to a lot more.